welcome to another episode of The Minority Voice. I'm your host, Jeff Vega, and I tell you it's Friday, and it's good that it's Friday, but I tell you, this whole week has just been inundated with stuff going on, and you got to give Biden credit, or the Obama third term. Unlike his first term, he hesitated on things, and a lot of things didn't get passed. This time around, man, they're in overdrive. They're going at warp speed to make things happen, and they are. And but I'm going to start off on a lighter note. I came across this article today. It really wasn't in my agenda for today, but I just had to share it. Now, China, they originated the COVID-19, and you got Fauci. He's right on the bandwagon and pushing it. Well, listen to this article. U.S. says China forcibly tested American diplomats with anal swabs for COVID-19. Now, David, you're young. You guys are up for anything. What's your thoughts on doing an anal swab for COVID?
Sounds like they got a real taste of that socialist communist life.
Yeah. Are you up for it?
I think I'll have to opt out of that one.
You're going to opt out? Okay. Well, that's good. Well, we're going to opt out on that article, too. Well, the first thing I want to touch on today, on a serious note, in Missouri County, Missouri County, they have legalized the arrest of federal agents who violate citizens' Second Amendment right. And friends, I want to tell you something. When you understand our Constitution and the rights that we have, one of the most powerful individuals in a state is a sheriff, because he is elected. You can't take him out of office unless the people do it. And I like this fact that this sheriff has said, you know what? The feds aren't going to come in here and take away our rights. And because, we're in an upside down society now, and, it's good to know that we have these sheriffs. And my last podcast, we had Rob from the 2A movement here to talk about that. And so, this is good to know. And that brings us to our next subject matter, which I think it's as important, is Justice Thomas wrote the dissent, and he's my rock star on the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court decided not to take up a couple cases dealing with the election, and in regards to one, Pennsylvania. And this is what he wrote in his dissent. One wonders what this court waits for, Justice Thomas wrote. We failed to settle the dispute before the election and thus provide clear rules. Now we fail to provide clear rules for the future. He tried to get it before the courts, but they said, well, it's not an issue because the election hasn't happened. And now that it has happened, now they don't want to take it up. That is baffling. And the one thing you have to ask yourself, now there are 6 appointed justices by Republicans on there, and he couldn't get 4. Now we know Roberts is a sellout, okay? But what about the other ones? Where's Barrett? Where's well, we know Kavanaugh. He's following the same lines as Roberts, it appears to. But when you see this is why it's important that states begin to take up their rights. Because if you think you're going to get justice out of the Supreme Court, my friends, think again. And so, wow, there goes my phone. Boy, talk about not having your phone off. But anyways, that being said, hey, let's move on to the next one. And I want you to check out this video. And this is a congressman being interviewed, and we pull out just a little segment of what he thinks about the minimum wage in small businesses.
Well, they shouldn't be doing it by paying people low wages. We don't want low wage businesses. I think most successful small businesses can pay a fair wage. If you look at the minimum wage, it increased with worker productivity until 1968, and that relationship was severed. If workers were actually getting paid for the value they were creating, it would be up to $23. So I love small businesses. I'm all for it. But I don't want small businesses that are underpaying employees.
Did you catch that? They don't want businesses that don't pay minimum wage. And you know what? That pretty much goes for most mom and pop shops. So you wonder why Gretchen doesn't care about businesses, restaurants, bars, and things of that nature, gyms, because they don't add nothing to their cause, because they're little mom and pop shops. And just keep that in mind moving forward, and that these individuals, they don't have the best interests of the everyday Americans. They have sold out to corporate America. And there was a time when Republicans were you might say, in the pockets of the big business, but now that is switched, and it's the Democrats now who have got that. Well, that brings us to our next issue. And you know what? This one goes out to my friends in the faith movement. So here you have a video, and check out this video.
Senator, let me try to respond this way. I have tried to make sure on this important issue for so many people, where oftentimes, again, we have different views, but deeply held views, that I have tried to make sure that I am abiding by the law. Because whether it's a particular restriction or whether it's the whole idea of abortion, whether we agree or not, we have to come to some conclusion, and that's where the law gives us.
But is there, just to be clear, is there any line you would draw? Is there just one restriction as it relates to abortion
So
that you might support?
Senator, you're talking to the spouse of a OBGYN who for decades has practiced saving lives of women and babies. And I can tell you that from the stories I've heard from Carolina, my wife, I know how hard many women struggle just to save the life of their baby. And so what I would say to you, and I know that right now as I speak, my mother has blessed me this morning as I got ready to come here. And last night, I know when she prayed the rosary, as she does every day, every evening with my aunt, that she said a prayer and included me in that prayer.
Well, there's, part of it's the battle for those who don't have a voice, which are the little babies. And you didn't answer the question about even one restriction on abortion. I didn't get an answer from you. Let me just throw one out there. How about a ban on the lethal discrimination of babies who are diagnosed with Down syndrome?
And so, Senator, once again, if I can simply say to you that I respect the different views that are out there, but what's important is that it makes sure that my view is according to the law.
If you confirm, you're going to be the head of the HHS. It's a huge organization, has profound impact on our society. How about a ban on sex-selective abortion? Whether the little baby is a male or a female, would you say you can't have a sex-selective abortion?
And I respect those who take a particular view. My job will be to make sure that I am following the law.
There's a ban on partial birth abortion. I know that question came up yesterday. Is that yes or no? Would you support a ban on partial birth abortion?
Again, Senator, you're asking questions which will touch on aspects that I know have different views. And what I can say is that I will make sure that I'm respecting the law on those issues.
So the nominee for the Human Health Secretary, Xavier Becerra, he could not say what he would limit in abortion. And friends, I want to tell you, man, this whole cabinet crew that the Bidens and Harris are putting forth, They are radicals to unbelief. You look at the the deputy human secretary, health and human secretary. Check out what Rand Paul asked him. You know, it's a longer video, but you need to realize that we don't have any friends in Washington, and we're going to have to step up if we want to win this fight. And you cannot hide in your pews anymore. We got to step up and let our voices be heard, because they're going to steamroll us on every issue. And that brings us to the last issue for Friday. It's the cancel culture. And once again, you see that their mindset is they take no prisoners and they will destroy whoever. Well, you got Lee Chatfield. Remember who Lee Chatfield was. He was the Speaker of the House. Well, he took a job with he became the director of Southwest Michigan First in Kalamazoo. Well, when they found out that he was the new director, within 2 weeks, they rallied against him, the progressives, and first thing that happened, the city of Kalamazoo canceled their ties with the group, and then immediately afterwards, that the Kalamazoo Promise and the Community Foundation, they canceled their relationships with this organization, which of course caused Lee to, step aside, fall on the sword for the betterment of the organization. And I want to tell you, friends, this isn't going to stop. And if you search the news every day, you're going to see somebody getting canceled, some way, shape, or form, whether it's social media, in business. And as I said to you, we have to realize that we're in a fight. And we have to step up, step out, and get engaged in this fight. Because if not, no matter where you're at, they're going to get you. Unless you just go and hide. But you know what? You'll get outed. Somebody will out you. And, so somebody once said, and it was the founding fathers actually, either we die together or we'll die alone. So, not die, but hang. We'll hang together, we'll hang alone. So, anyways, hey, I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And remember, Joshua 24:15.